Okay, dear students, welcome to the first topic of living world, that is diversity. Diversity in living world. Okay, when you look at the chapter, this is the topic that we are going to discuss. Diversity in the living world. Already we covered all this aspect in the free video. Okay, now in this topic, that what I have to discuss is actually first topic is I want to explain species and biodiversity, and then I will explain the nomenclature of species. I mean, first I want to tell you, I want to make a clear concept that is what is biodiversity and what is species. Then I will tell you how you name the species. And the basics of taxonomy is actually in the next video. Okay. And when you think about biodiversity, this figure I shown you in our free video. In Earth, you can see human. Human is a kind of organism, and you can see several human beings belongs to make a species. I mean, species means one kind of organism. The external appearance is almost same, and they can mate, they can reproduce and produce children, progenies. I mean, children. So those same kind of this kind, that type of organism that can able to reproduce is called one species. This contain many species. You know, flies one species, butterfly another species, tree another species, everything reproduce. Birds another reproduce species, fish one kind of fish another species. This sponge one species. This sponge means animal kingdom belongs to an animal. There's a name something likely sponge species. Now you can see the frog. These are all different species. So many species constitute the biodiversity. Diversity means difference. Difference of species constitute a biodiversity. So you got the species. What is really the species? Species is one kind of fish that are able to reproduce. One kind of cat that are able to produce many cats. One kind of one type of species and that are able to reproduce. There's like a bird species are there, butterfly species are there, cow species are there. All this constitute the biodiversity. So when the number of species in an ecosystem, number of species in a habitat increases, the species biodiversity also increases. Suppose in desert, there is only few number of species. Cactus is there, camel is there, therefore the biodiversity is low. But in a tropical rainforest, many trees and animals are there, therefore biodiversity is high. So the number of species, not the number of organism. Number of species constitute what? Biodiversity. And you got what is species? Kind of plant or animal or microbe is called a species. What kind of animal? Understood? And the number of species in the earth is said to be around 1.7 to 1.8 million. It's differing upon different scientists, they were telling different values. Anyway, it is said to be that around 1.5 1.7 to 1.8 million. In between that, million means 10 lakh, up to that species are there. Remember, it is not, a major portion is not due to animals or plants, it is due to microbes. Whatever maybe 1.7 to 1.8 million species are still there in they were telling in human in earth, but still more and more species are discovering and more species are extincting. You understood? And the biodiversity is the diversity of species. It's called biodiversity. So you got the concept of species, you got the concept of number of species, you got the biodiversity. The diversity of species, we call it as biodiversity. The biodiversity, the diversity of species is depending upon the area explored. You know, more and more area you explore. For suppose in your town you are counting the number of rat, cat, dog, etc. You get a biodiversity. But more than your town, in your country, if you count that thing, you get more and more bio species. More than your country, if you cover your continent, Asia, Europe, etc., you will get more and more species. That means if the area increases, the biodiversity, number of species increases. I mean the biodiversity increases. Also, it depends upon the habitat. I told you already, desert contain less species, therefore less biodiversity than a rainforest where more species and more biodiversity. So the habitat where it's present and the area also depends upon our species biodiversity. Okay, now let's go to the nomenclature of species. How you name a species? Let me show you a species. This is mango tree. Mango tree plant. Okay, this mango tree, we say it's mango tree, but in another place it may be some with another name. Okay, so you cannot so there will be a communication gap. The local name in different places is different. So there somebody called this, that's one thing, one name, and another person call it as another name. They don't know these two things are same. You understood? So the mango tree so should have a standardized name, just like elephant also. Elephant is in English we call elephant. In another language we call something else. But we want to know what is the exact name that is throughout internationally acceptable. It is called the scientific name. Scientific name. So local name of organism vary from place to place. For example, for our mango tree, you can say that Mangifera indica. Mangifera indica is the scientific name of this organism. This taxonomic hierarchy I will show you later. You know, Mangifera indica is the scientific name for what? Science standard is the name of all over the world. We call it as two word is representing this name. Therefore, it's bi. Bi means two. Binomial nomenclature is proposed by that Linnaeus. Carl Linnaeus is the man who made this standardized name. You know, Mangifera indica. So, and I before what I want to tell is that this is what nomenclature of species, binomial nomenclature by Linnaeus. Understood? Mangifera indica for mango tree, Homo sapiens for human, Panthera leo for lion, Panthera tigris for tiger, and Solanum tuberosum for potato, etc. These are all what scientific name. Before you are putting a scientific name, you have to make full character of this organ. So what is how the leaf like, how the stem like, how the root like, how the flower like. This is what characterization. After characterization, you have to identify the organism, and in order for this characterization and identification and scientific naming, so first of all you make all the character, you write all the character of organism, then you identify the organism. After that you have code, you have laws to determine its name. It's represented by ICBN and ICZN. ICBN means International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, whereas ICZN is the International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. If somebody asks you the full form of ICBN and ICZN, you have to tell what is really ICBN and ICZN. These are all laws. These are all codes for naming. For naming, for example, you characterize. You make all the character of this plant, and you identify the plant, and then you name the plant according to ICBN and ICZN. Okay, let's look at the binomial nomenclature again here. The tiger is called Panthera tigris. Panthera is the genus name, whereas species name is tigris. Homo sapiens. Sapiens is a species name. Homo is the genus name. Mangifera indica. Mangifera is the genus, whereas indica is it comes from India. That's why indica. Indica is the species name. Okay. Now there are some rules for nomenclature. As I told you, these names are not in Malayalam, not in Tamil, not in Hindi, not in Urdu, not in Arabic, not in English. Even in English, it is not there. The scientific name is actually in Latin, or if it is in another language, we will Latinize them. For example, indica, that is, we Latinized it. So I understood. Latin or Latinized name should be there. It's the rule for nomenclature, internationally accepted rule. First name is genus name and second name is species name. And if you look at this Mangifera indica, can you see the first letter is capital in the genus and other is species and everything with a small letter. So first name, first letter only, first letter of genus name is with start with a capital letter. Let me say simply start with a capital letter, and after that all the things are with a small letter. Okay, and if you are writing Mangifera indica, you have to separately underline these two words, or if you print that, if you make in the type computer or something like, it should be in italics, in a tilted form. Okay, more than that, so separately underlined or italics form, and more than that, name of the author may given as abbreviated form. You can see after Mangifera indica, it may or may not be present. Lin means it is proposed by Linnaeus. Okay, abbreviated form. Anyway, these are the names rules for nomenclature. Let me tell again. First of all, there will be name should be Latin or Latinized form. Genus and species name. First letter is capital letter, separately underlined or italics, and name of the author after in the name in abbreviated form. So you can see here tiger, Panthera tigris. Tigris is the species name. You can see tigris start with a small letter, but Panthera genus name start with a capital letter, separately underlined or italics, and this is species and this is genus. Already I told you. Understood? Now, so what I've come to my point is that the taxonomy, first of all, you have to characterize and identify the organism. Then the classify and nomenclature is the steps in taxonomy. Characterization and identification already told you. And classification and nomenclature, I will tell you later. Okay. What is really the classification? Classification is a process in which grouped into different category. you know your all the character you characterize about a plant or animal. After that, you have to put under some category. For example, you are getting a jackfruit tree. You characterize also as root, stem, leaf, and everything, and you belongs to under the taxa plant. It's under the category plant. You know, category is the English word, and the biological name for category is taxa. So your taxa, plant is a taxa, plant kingdom. Animal kingdom is another taxa. If you found an animal, you characterize that animal and identify, and you can put under the animal taxa. Or under this taxa, you can see some subtaxas. For example, it's also not subtaxa, actually, it's also called as taxa. Mammal is a taxa. You know, those who give rise to birth to babies and they breastfeed them is called mammals, and mammals is a taxa. You can include the under mammals, bat, you can include human, you can include monkey, you can include cat, you can include dog, you can include, these are all mammals that under mammals taxa. Now even the species name also a taxa. For example, wheat is a taxa, you know, a category. All the plants exactly like wheat is under the a taxa of wheat. Dog is a taxa, cat is a taxa. So cat, dog belongs to another taxa, mammal, and this mammal belongs to another taxa, animals. These are the taxa category at different level. Now you got this point. Characterization, identification, and classification by different taxa and the nomenclature. I will tell you later. Scientific name for category is called taxa. Understood? Now, so plant is a taxa, wheat is a taxa, animals is a taxa, mammal is a taxa, dog is a taxa. These are all taxa at different level. So this is what we completed, the diversity of living world. In the next chapter, sorry, in the next video, I will, not in next chapter, in next video, I will explain the taxonomic category, different taxas. For example, species, genus, family, order, class, and phylum, kingdom, I will explain. These are all different taxas that we are going to explore very clearly in the next paid video. If you watch the paid video, you know, our fees is very negligible and our quality of education is very high. So best class with least fees, that is our policy, and you can follow in the next video. See you in the next video. Thank you very much. Okay.